I think all of us want to grow fruit in our backyards, but you know, it's not as easy as just looking through a catalog and say, oh, I'd like one of these and one of those. There's research to be going through that, and I think when we finish talking to Tina Ramsey that we're probably going to be enlightened about how to maybe be more successful. Well, Tina, I see success right before us. Tell us about these pears.
Well, this is a Bartlett pear tree, and we actually have 3 pears on it this year. These trees have been here for almost 3 years, and we're pretty thrilled about it. You need a pollinator for fruit trees, and fortunately we do have pollinator. We have 3 different varieties: Bartlett, Moonglow, and Kiefer. And we work very hard on these, pruning them, trying to make sure that they have the right condition to grow. Because I don't spray my trees. I'm pretty much an organic gardener. We're standing in my orchard here.
Well, let's just ask one question about pears. Sometimes pears get fire blight. What do you want to do to fight that off, and is it detrimental? Will it kill the tree, or just one year's problem?
Fire blight is a real problem, and when I researched the trees for this orchard, I looked specifically at fire blight, scab, cedar apple rust, bacterial leaf blight, and mildew. I tried to select plants that were resistant to that. I've had some good success with some and some without. In answer to your question, fire blight is more of an aesthetic problem, and it's almost impossible not to have it in Tennessee because we have so many cedar trees, and it comes back and forth.
And it seems the more blooms there are, the more fire blight we might have. That's what I experienced on the tree. I had an Anjou pear.
Pruning is so important for fruit trees, and people are afraid to prune. And you need 2 prunings a year at least. I actually prune a lot more than that. But your primary pruning will be in February before new growth starts. You want to prune back to the fruit spurs, open up the tree, make sure that there's good air circulation. And then I do another pruning probably June or July, since this year everything is like 3 weeks early.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Is there a problem identifying the fruit spur? You say you prune back to the fruit spur.
Yes, there is. So a fruit spur is actually last year's growth that is going to bloom the following year and put out fruit. And it's kind of hard to tell what is water sprouts and what are fruit spurs, but I look for horizontal branching coming off from a lateral, which is here, and I try to keep all of my branches short so that we do have the older growth. The leafy growth comes out and helps to produce food for the plant and the tree. But fruit spurs are 2nd-year growth that's going to bloom the following year. And here we have one, came out last year. I did not prune it off, and obviously it bloomed, and we had pollination, so we've got 3 good-looking pears on there.
And you can identify the fact that this right here would be this year's growth, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly correct.
Okay. So you talked about water sprouts. Would this be considered water sprout here, or is this a possible fruit producer?
That I would consider a water sprout. Anything growing straight up and down is going to come off. And it will come off in the summer pruning. And if it grows back, I'll get it again in the winter pruning. This tree was pruned down to very few branches just a few months ago.
I can imagine before it leafed out. Okay. Very good information. So this is a pawpaw. Have you picked any up and put them in your pocket yet?
No, but my husband and I are certainly hoping to be able to do so someday.
Okay.
This pawpaw is overlease, and that one down there is sunflower, and pawpaws are a little difficult to grow, and they're picky. Most of the time you find them in the shade, but they will grow well in the sun. What I had to do was build tree shelters over them for the first 2 years that they were here. This is now the 3rd year, and they're doing quite well. It actually bloomed. We, however, did not get any pollination this year, but they're really pretty trees, and we're hoping to pick up those pawpaws and put them in our pocket.
Well, don't the butterflies pollinate these?
No, it's not butterflies, it's carrion flies. The the blooms actually smell like rotting meat.
Yeah.
And so butterflies, the zebra swallowtail,
That's right.
this is a host plant for them.
I knew it was the host plant.
Yes.
That's why I thought that they were the pollinator.
Yeah, no, it's carrion flies.
Oh.
And the bees don't even do it. So we, this year when they bloomed, it was really warm and they were covered with flies. So we were hoping we'd get some fruit. We unfortunately didn't.
Well,
so.
it's still a little bit immature, but I'd say you have promise.
Thank you. I hope so, Annette. I do.
All right. What is this?
This is kiwi, I say, which is supposed to be a self-pollinating kiwi. A lot of people don't know that you need both a male and a female pollinators for fruit trees, and kiwi is no exception. I did have a male pollinator to help me get more kiwi, but for 2 years in a row, it's died over the winter. I say, however, continues to live and grow, and I suspect within a few years she'll take over this trellis.
Where did you get your introduction to kiwi?
I got it from Volunteer Gardener when you did your piece on Hidden Springs Nursery.
Yeah.
And I actually bought this kiwi from there, as well as my pawpaw trees. And I've been very pleased with the fruits that have come from there.
This is a new one also. What is this?
This is a quince tree, Sidonia oblonga. It's not the ornamental quince. I purchased 2 of these at University of Tennessee Summer Celebration 2 years ago. So this one and this tree here have been in the orchard for about 2 years. And surprisingly enough, we picked 3 quince last year. So we couldn't eat them because they're rock hard, and I don't really know how to process them.
Does this have thorns also like the others?
It does. It has some little thorns.
Blueberries. I love them. Now tell me what I'm doing wrong with mine.
Well, blueberries need a very acidic soil, anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5. So the first thing you must do with any plants or crop is to do a soil test. If you don't have an acidic soil, 7 is neutral, and a lot of people might have between 6 and 7, which is good, but blueberries really want it acidy. So below 6 would be good. When you have that, you give them a mulch, they have everything they need, they'll grow good. The first thing I did out here was get a soil test, and our soil acidity was about 5.2.
Oh, they're happy.
Yes, they're happy. We also have some sourwood growing here and a lot of other plants that like the acid clay soil. So we're very fortunate. So the first thing I wanted to do was plant blueberries. This is one of about a dozen, and these were planted last year. This is Tiff Blue, and you can see I have a few berries on them.
Let me ask you this. You're using the pine straw as a mulch, and I see that you have cardboard under that. Do they receive some acidity from just the pine needles?
Not enough to make a difference. Okay. So a lot of people think pine needles acidify the soil, and it may over a long period, but it won't be enough.
I see these on the roadside. What's the difference in those and these?
Well, these are elderberries, and they're
right.
Beautiful plants, and the ones you see growing on the roadside are species.
Yes.
The cultivated ones, such as these ones I have here, which is John and Adams. I have a pollinator for each other. They are bred for improved fruit production, better tasting fruit, better flowers, better resistance to diseases. Mm-hmm. These are doing phenomenally well. I did have them a little bit in the shade, had to move them out here to the sun, and now they are just really happy and actually getting ready to bloom.
Well, now I know that you can make an elderberry wine. So as far as what you're doing for the wildlife and all the things you have going on here, is there anything that particularly wants this shrub?
Deer.
Oh.
We have the big fence for the deer, but butterflies like it, and it's just adding to the diversity. And my husband wants us to be able to eat what we grow.
Well,
so
I
we have to
understand
grow
that.
good stuff.
That's a good thing today.
Yes.
Well, I think you keep referring to the back 40 and all, and I know that the work that's gone into just planting what this area has produced is unmountable for me. I can't imagine.
It's a lot of work, Annette. It really is, but it's a labor of love.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.